What's up, Mr. Geeks? My name is OMGWTF, and welcome to Suprcoker Sunday. If you are unfamiliar with what Suprcoker Sunday is, well, it is the one day of the week that I choose to play really any game that I want, such as the ongoing series we've been doing for quite a long time now, the arcade playthroughs of all the characters in Cartoon Network Punch Them Explosion XL, and this week we're going to be doing Mac and Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It should be good, so as you see right here, Mac has a color with, he looks like orange, and Blue's orange. Then we have black and yellow, with Blue being yellow. And then we just have a straight up goth with all that, but of course we're sticking to the original. Mac and Blue had no idea how they ended up in such an odd place, but the first thought was to try and find any stray imaginary friends to take home with them. The pair knew they would be safe as long as they stuck together. So as always, this is like a Mortal Kombat kind of ladder style type game where you move up the ladder to face your enemies. And as always, a reoccurring theme I've been doing in the these arcade playthroughs, whether it be Cartoon Network Punch Them Explosion, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or maybe even a Justice God Among Us, any arcade type game, I like to give you information on the character that we're playing as. And of course, since we're playing as Mac and Blue, I'm going to give you information about the character. Oh, both characters, I should say, and a little bit about their show. So, Mac and Blue are part of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, or Foster's for short, and that was an American animated television series created and produced by Cartoon Network Studios by animator Craig McCracken, who is the creator of the Powerpuff Girls. It first premiered on Cartoon Network on August 13, 2004 as a 90-minute television movie, which led to a series of a half-hour episodes. The series aired on Cartoon Network and its affiliates worldwide, except in Canada, where it aired in English and Francophone Teletone networks. The show finished its run in May 3rd, 2009, with a total of 79 episodes. Now, Mac, who is voiced by Sean Marquis, who is, more well known for his some of the voices he's actually done, was Sam from Rocket Power. He was Peter Parker / Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game in 2005, and he's also Pence in Kingdom Hearts 2, which was in 2006. Now, Mac is a bright, creative, sensitive, and somewhat shy 8-year-old boy, and Blue's creator and best friend who visits Foster's every day. Mac is often the voice of reason among his friends, especially Blue, when they're making decisions. However, his good nature tends to make him somewhat naive. He is very attached to Blue, and it's shown in the episodes such as House of Blues and Duchess of Wales, I guess, that his biggest fear is never seeing him again, because Blue is what keeps him happy and cheerful, and vice versa. Mac becomes extremely high and hyperactive to the point of rapid mania when he eats sugar. Once in the state, he will become impossible to control, will often be obsessed with seeking any other source of sugar, and if he gets hyperactive enough, will run around naked or in his underwear. He also has a huge crush on Frankie, and Mac and Blue are the two main protagonists of the series. Now, Blue, who is voiced by Keith Ferguson, who has done Han Solo and C-3PO in the Robot Chicken Star Wars series, and Marluxia in the Kingdom Hearts series. Blue is Mac's 5-year-old imaginary best friend, or imaginary friend and best friend, whatever, who resembles a simple domed cylinder. Blue is often self-centered, egotistic, narcissistic, and occasionally sociopathic, as well as having a knack for getting in trouble. Despite all this, he still has a good heart and apologizes for his actions. Blue loves paddle balls, and even though he cannot make the ball hit the paddle, though the only time he was able to was in the episode Let Your Hair Down, his full name is Blueguard Q Kazoo. He became increasingly mischievous over the run over the series and can be a show-off. He is the only character to appear in every episode of the series. Now, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was named the 85th Best Animated Series by IGN, which called it very funny and endearing. Mike Pinsky, in a review of DVD Verdict, praised the art design and characterizations, particularly singling out Cheese as possibly the quintessence of Foster's surreal charm, in his Season 2 review. Mac and Blue and a few other characters from Foster's are also in the online game on Cartoon Network called Fusion Fall. A Game Boy Advance game was created by Crave Entertainment, which was also released in the fall of 2006, called Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. The player controls Mac and Blue while collecting items, completing objectives. Another game for Nintendo DS debuted in November 2007, titled Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends: Imagination Invaders. It is based on the episode Make Believe Make Believe It or Not, where Goo imagines the evil space nut boogies. The player controls Bloo using the buttons on the Nintendo DS console. The main objective of the game is to rescue Madame Foster, who has been kidnapped by space nut boogies. To do this, the player must earn the cooperation of different characters from the television series by performing tasks for them in order to gain their help. Both games have been received generally less than satisfactory reviews. This is Bloo, or Mac and Bloo, I should say, finishing maneuver. I will go over this a little bit more because we will see it more than once because I really didn't get to hit it that well. Anyway, in 2011, there was a Nintendo 3DS game including the fastest crew called Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion, and of course, it was released for, you know, Wii, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. Called Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion, which is what we're playing now. On May 15th, 2006, Cartoon Network introduced a new online game called Big Fat Awesome House Party, which allows players to create an online friend to join Bloo and the others in a one-year game online and earn points that would give them gifts, cards, and other online merchandise for their albums. Their friend made from one of the over 900,000 possible characters could wind up in a future episode of Foster's. The game became so popular in May 2007, Cartoon Network announced that the game would continue for 6 more months into November of that year. From 2006 to 2008, Cartoon Network furnished a Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends float as part of the Macy Thanksgiving Parade. The float was fashioned as a replica of the home. Each year, the Imaginary Friends cover a pop song about friendship when the float arrives in front of the Macy's Herald Square store. Blue, Wilt, Coco, and Eduardo, performed the Beatles with a little help from my friends in 2006. Cheese made a silent cameo at the end. The following year, Cheese covered Queen's "You're My Best Friend" and screamed his catchphrase, "I like chocolate milk" at the end. In 2008, the group began to sing "Best Friend," originally recorded by Harry Neeson, as the theme song to the corpse trip of Eddie's father. When the song suddenly stopped and Rick Astley came on, out of the house singing "Never Gonna Give You Up," effectively Rick rolling everyone watching the parade. At this time, Cheese exclaims, "I like Rick rolling." As you see, I'm very slow in this game. This one, at least. Let me give you my little analysis, I guess, what it would be on Mac and Bloo in this game. Now, they're not a bad character. They're nearly not as bad as my opponent here, Vilgax, which we've discovered before, who is garbage. But I feel, at least to me, they don't do a lot of damage. That's why a lot of the matches were long, because I wasn't doing a lot of damage to them, and I don't know. I felt like it was a lot longer to me, and it was just weird. Like, this fight right here, usually I would have been done with it a while ago, and I would have probably been doing it a lot longer if it wasn't for Eduardo's help. But they're not bad characters. They're fast. They got some pretty good moves, and I would say, in my opinion, the only thing lacking on them is their damage. Anything else, they got some pretty good moves. It's just, to me, I feel like they do absolutely no damage. Like, I guess it takes a while for me to eliminate someone, and with some of the characters in here, they do monstrous damage, and it's just, to me, it's not unfair because some are supposed to do more damage than the others, but it's a lot harder if you're playing as Mac and Bloo because of the fact how, in my opinion, as I said again, I don't know if this is a fact, that they really don't do that much damage to their enemies. And in my opinion on, the characters in the cartoon series, yeah, see, this is another thing. Hold on, I'll go over this in a second. This is another thing that irritates me in the game. Sometimes you lose yourself on the screen. Like, I had no idea where I was there, and I couldn't find myself. You lose yourself sometimes, and it becomes a little bit difficult. So, my suggestion to any of you, if you're playing like with your friends and you have 4 people, go to a little bit of a bigger stage than this one, where they unfortunately set me at, because this is a tiny stage and it's easy to fall off. I would suggest maybe going to one of Chowder's worlds, because Chowder has some of the biggest worlds in the game. Either way, though, now I guess I'll give my opinion on Mac and Bloo as a character and their TV series, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I'll start with that, actually. So, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, as I said before, it's basically a television show about imaginary friends who, their creators grew up, and they don't need imaginary friends no more, so they go to this home for adoption, so a little kid can, I guess, adopt an imaginary friend. That's basically what it is, and it's a fantastic concept. I mean, great concept for. It's honestly the best concept I've ever heard of in a cartoon series. I mean, it's just great. Like to me, like that's just it's amazing. Like, who would have thought about that? All right, now that we got this going again, Bloo has probably one of the best finishing moves in this game, if you ask me. I mean, look at Dexter. But he rigs on that guitar, which is awesome because I love rock music, and it's cool looking. Like, he turns in his muscle guy. I don't know. I like it. If I had to list the top 5 finishers, Bloo would be up there. Maybe not the best, because I kind of like Samurai Jack's too, but Bloo definitely has a badass finisher. So does the Toilinator too. But you see, so Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends had a great concept, and it was even funny. Like, I loved the show. It was the last show I actually watched on Cartoon Network. Like, actually sat down and watched. Like, up until recently with, the regular show coming out, which I've said many times that I love the regular show, but I actually loved that TV show, and it was around the time where I actually stopped watching cartoons, because after that they just got stupid. I didn't like Chowder, I didn't like Flapjack, and I don't know. To me, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was it was the last great show of Cartoon Network up until recently, since they come out with shows like The Adventure Times and the regular show and Adventures of Gumball and Mad, of course. So to me, yeah, Foster's Home would be like the last great television show that Cartoon Network came out with. But look at Father being a jerk, taking all my stuff. Mac and Bloo as a character, for one, it's a great matchup. They were, I like how they played off a lot of things too, which I'll go on that. But they were a great matchup. Like, you had the narcissistic, Bloo, who only really cared about himself, but he always had a good heart inside. And then you had Mac, who had more of a good head on his shoulders and all that good stuff. So it was just a good show. I really don't know how to put it. They were good characters, and like I said, it was funny. Like, with they mentioned Cheese a lot, which honestly everyone loves Cheese, but you want to know my personal opinion? He was my least favorite character on the show. He was just annoying. But they mentioned Cheese a lot, and he was when he first was introduced, it was believed Mac created him, but it was later revealed that he didn't. But it was funny because it played off, because his name's Cheese, so you had Mac and Cheese, which mac and cheese, macaroni and cheese, and then you have Blue Cheese. So to me, I always giggled at that. And they had so many great characters. Like, they had Wilt, who was like, the very kind-hearted, tall, imaginary friend who loved basketball, was missing one arm, and he always said sorry for everything. You had the big old purple monster named Eduardo, who spoke he didn't only speak Spanish, but he was Hispanic, and he looked like this giant monster, yet he was scared of almost everything. And then you had Coco, who was a bird, airplane, palm tree connection thing, and the only thing she could say was Coco, and she laid plastic eggs, usually with stuff in them. You had Frankie, Mr. Harriman, who was like the butler, and you had Madam Foster. It was just a fantastic show. Everything about that show was flawless. And I want to say something real quick before I continue going on. I hate this level, because it's hard to get him knocked out, because the only way you can knock him out, like, make him lose, is the same way you would do in like a Smash Bros game. You would send them off the screen, but this one has a ceiling above it, so the only way you can send him off the screen is if you get him outside. Well, like, it's just, why did Father kill himself? It's just, it's a hard thing. But anyway, back to the show. It was a great show, and it was really funny. Like, you had Barry, who was in love with Blue. You had Blueberry. It was just it's just a funny show, and I every time it's on TV, I make sure to watch it. I'll even go on demand sometimes and watch an episode, because it was a great show, and I'd say it's definitely in the top 5 of my favorite Cartoon Network shows. I mean, I like that show more than I like Dexter's Laboratory or Powerpuff Girls. I mean, if I had to rank it, it'd probably be number 3. It'd be behind Johnny Bravo and Edna and Eddie. It was that good of a show, Nerds and Geeks. It really was, and I honestly miss it. And you know, I really don't know what I'm saying. Like I can't put it into words. I'm trying to find words to put it in, but it was just fantastic. It was flawless. There was nothing wrong with the show. Absolutely nothing wrong with the show. And you know what's funny? I don't know if you guys ever heard of a creepypasta. Creepypasta is basically what ruins your childhood. It's made up stories majority of the time. Sometimes it may be real, who knows. But that's how Slender Man got created, and a lot of, you know, the cartoon and Pokemon theories. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of the Ed and Eddie one with all the kids are in purgatory, or the Pokemon theory with Ash being in a coma basically ever since he got knocked on the head. But it was, you know, there's one about Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and basically it's just about how Frankie, who is Madame Foster's granddaughter, I believe it was, it's about how she's basically just insane in the head, and she holds a snow globe with the house that's, you know, the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends house in it, and basically all that stuff in the show is what just goes on in her head. Like, she's imagined all that, and I remember it wasn't like an exact, I don't remember if there's an actual story to it. I just remember there's a picture, and Madame Foster was just like saying like she gets worse and worse every day or something. It's crazy like that. Some of those creepypastas, Nerds and Geeks, they're intense. Like, you know, they make sense too. Like, some of them are just lame, but you know, you find a really good one and you're just like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And that's what the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friend ones does. It, I mean, I highly doubt it's real, but it makes sense. Like, it's like, wow, that's crazy. Next up, we're taking on all 3 of the Powerpuff Girls, which, oh Lord, excuse me, Nerds and Geeks. Which, most of you already probably know this is like my least favorite fight, but I actually do really well this time around. Just saying, I actually hold my own here. That's Eduardo, by the way, the purple scaredy cat monster I was telling you guys about. But you know, if you guys have never watched an episode of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, for one, why? And 2, you have to, because it is just phenomenal. Flawless show, as I said. It is, I honestly, I can't think of an episode that I did not like. Look at this. See, and this finisher is just, it freezes them and they just keep getting beat and beat and beat. It's really a fantastic finisher. You can't, you know, get out of it. You're stuck once you're there. And I think I take all 3 of them out. Yeah, I do. I took all 3 of them out. Told you, I did great on that one. I did fantastic on that one, honestly. And like I said, most of the time, I hate that one. That one's a pain in my ass. But of course, our last enemy we fight is him from the Powerpuff Girls series, which is kind of funny how Mac and Blue, who were created by the same person that created Powerpuff Girls, which I believe his name was Craig McCracken. And you know what also is funny? That the creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane's created a lot of the more popular Cartoon Network TV shows. You know, I do want to say something. This battle with him is just, it's too easy if you ask me. He doesn't do much. He just kind of avoids you, it feels like to me. Like, he always just flies around, and I don't know. Him's very weak in this game, if you ask me. I don't think him's strong. Huh. I really don't know what to talk about. I'm sorry, Nerds and Geeks. I've really covered everything I want to. Except for one thing, of course, which is this. If you remember when I said earlier, when Mac eats a lot of candy, he goes berserk, and, well, that's simple as it is. Mac and Blue were exhausted after fighting so many battles and listening to Grim complain he was not an imaginary friend. But definitely more from Grim's constant complaining, the two realized that they were just wanting to get back home to Madame Foster's mansion, so they parted ways with the Grim Reaper, and they were convinced he was not an imaginary friend.
Mac and I can.
Looks like they thought the Grim Reaper was an imaginary friend, but yeah, his synergies with the guy from the Adventure Times, and this, of course, is his alternate costume. It looks... I don't know what it's from. It looks like Blue is dressed as a superhero, and Mac is dressed as a karate person, but Mac's standalone, or Mac and Blue's standalone special is kind of a Hadouken where he just throws Blue like he's a Hadoukening him. The side special, he throws Blue like, I guess like a ball. I don't know how to say it. Maybe more like a yo-yo. His down special, the two paddle ball it side to side, so that's actually a really good move too. And then you have over here their up special. They just jump up and twirl. So as always, Nerds and Geeks, I have been OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. And actually, let me describe his synergy real quick. He's with the guy from the Adventures of... You know what? I don't know his name. So I've been OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB, and I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to suggest some things, and as always, have a great day.